Okay, on this channel, I do a lot of reviews of different shows and stuff. But at some point, I decided to save one in particular just for the Mr. Nailsin Show. So these are rather old, and I have to give plenty of warning. I'm very cruel to this show. However, going through it, I realized it has really good episodes in it eventually, and there's stupid things about it, the overall aspect of it, the premise with the moon, and it just, it doesn't hold together for me on that point. But yeah, it has its moments. There's just some episodes that actually aren't that bad in it, and I know it has its fans, and it's part of the era of sci-fi that I grew up in. It's one of those shows that you always heard about. I barely remember a few episodes, and I would have been a young kid at the time. And I'm talking about Space 1999, by the way. But it wasn't one of the ones that sticks with me along with, obviously like Star Trek, which would have been in reruns at the time, and Doctor Who, and Battlestar Galactica and Buck Rogers and those. Space 1999 is much better than Buck Rogers was. Buck Rogers went bad pretty quick and never recovered and became silly. But Space 1999 has its moments here and there. Has excellent for its time sets and footage of space and whatnot, and then suddenly it's not very good. I mean, it's repurposed and that sort of thing, and but storytelling is where it matters most for these shows, and Space 1999 doesn't always hold up to some of the others. So however, it does have its moments, and there's been talk of reboots and redoing it, Space 2099, I guess. And something like that could be accomplished, although I would recommend that they be either in a spaceship or a space station that gets stuck on a trajectory like that. And always remember that when you come into the gravity well of a planet, you're stuck in that gravity well unless you have some other propulsion to push you out of it. The same would be true for the moon. But that's the biggest plot hole from the entire outset and premise of Space 1999. But anyway, it became fodder for the Mr. Nailsin Show and my imaginary co-hosts. And so needing more material, and I do use old stuff from the Nailsin Show eventually in video format, most notably the audio plays I do with Night Knight, Sun King, and Bubba Stargon and so forth. So eventually I'll probably do more stuff like this, and Nailsin News and Bayou Crime Report, stuff like that eventually gets a video treatment. Not all of them. Most of them are still on Nailsin Show, and the stories are so old I won't go back to it. So you got to check out the Nailsin Show. But this will be the first of the Space 1999, which I still haven't finished the first season, but I've done quite a few of the episodes on the Nailsin Show. So here will be a video version of it where came across the Power Records version of the story, which in a lot of ways might have been better. Yeah, maybe not this particular episode, but there was a couple of them they did that pretty good adaptions of the stories, and you got a comic book and everything. So using those images here to detail the review, and me and my imaginary co-hosts doing a sort of audio Mystery Science Theater treatment of the Power Records version of Space 1999 Breakaway. Yeah. Well, let's move on. Lately, I've been watching episodes of the old 70s sci-fi TV series Space 1999.
What? Oh,
and I remember it from my childhood, but I never really paid much attention. I didn't remember much of it.
Just like
and I just figured it was for what it was, which is a Star Trek knockoff.
Yeah, come on.
It is.
Yeah.
But it looks like they were going for a look that was more akin to Space. I mean, Space Odyssey 2001.
Good Lord, get it right. It's a classic.
Which was groundbreaking special effects and very realistic looking. Where
beautiful.
This is really a cheaper version of that. Now, their pilot episode, usually, and this is the case with all of these sci-fi shows, pilot episodes look the best because that's where they put the money in it to promote it. And then they'll say, okay, you got a series. You're going to have to spend less money. So they got the sets and everything. And actually, the sets were left over from this team's earlier TV series. This is all a British production.
What? Oh my God, I had no idea.
And they had a series called UFO, and then had some of these sets. And then when that series came to an end, they still had the sets. And they said, well, let's do another series. And so they did.
Oh my God.
And Space 1999 was the one. And they wanted American actors, so they managed to get Martin Landau and Barbara Bain, both of whom were from Mission Impossible.
Tom Cruise.
And they brought them in to be the leads of this series. And off they were going. And again, like I said, I didn't know much about it. I'd see pictures of them and stuff like that, and science fiction magazines and that kind of thing.
God.
And I barely remember watching. I was very young at the time, so I mostly remember Star Trek and that sort of thing. But it was funny because there was I saw at first, I think I saw was a documentary on the series, which was pretty good. That's actually more interesting than than the series itself.
Oh, now, come on. That's not
But
nice.
it was funny because Martin Landau, and people kept trying to compare us to Star Trek. Yeah, why do you think? I mean, he's sort of the captain, and he's got his crew, and they're going through deep space and all that stuff.
So?
And then eventually they even added an alien member of the crew, and they were all kind of grumbling about it. I guess they wanted our own Spock. Yeah, that's what it was. Only she was a pretty girl who could shape-shift. She would turn into animals and stuff like that. But for years, I didn't really know what the premise was. I just thought they were traveling through space and exploring things.
That's what
But
they
no.
did.
See, their clever premise was in 1999, there's this base on the moon.
What? Oh, come on.
Yeah, somehow that never got around to happening. But the purpose of the base was to dispose of nuclear waste from the Earth.
God, that's
so they were
brilliant.
burying the nuclear waste, and then, there was an accident, and it exploded. And the explosion was so tremendous that it pushed the moon out of the Earth's orbit. Not just the Earth's orbit, completely out of the solar system.
Well, you don't know, maybe.
So on this push, they're traveling through deep space on their moon base in there.
Oh, God.
And the pilot episode ends where they locate this planet that they had originally planned to send ships to, that they wanted to explore. But now the whole moon's going to. And so there it ends. Oh, there's the planet named Meta. I'm not kidding. Meta was the name of the planet. And they were heading towards it, and that's how the show ended. So I'm going to keep watching it as long as it's on YouTube, and I'll report back to you just how bad it is. Because
come on.
it's pretty bad.
That's big.
But interestingly enough, there was, in the old days, you would have this company called Power Records, and they would do these audio stories based on these comic books and TV shows, and they would come with a comic book. So there was a couple of them for Star Trek, and there'd be this comic book with it, and you would follow along with the record, and they would perform the story on the record, and you would read it as you go. And it's for young kids to pick it up and whatnot.
Exactly.
So there were a couple of Power Records versions of Space 1999.
Well, how about that?
And there was a version of the pilot episode called Breakaway. And I got to admit, the audio version is actually superior.
Oh, just stop that. Come on.
Maybe because they cut it down and get to the point very quickly. Here is Space 1999 from Power Records, episode Breakaway.
It is the year 1999. On Moon Base Alpha, preparations for a manned probe of the recently discovered planet Meta are almost complete. The new commander of Alpha, John Koenig, is getting some last-minute information from the head of the Space Commission, calling from Earth.
How do you like this, John? The first close-up shot of the planet Meta, taken from the unmanned Space Bearer 9, just in.
It has atmosphere.
Not only that, we're receiving signals loud and clear. The planet Meta could be supporting life as we know it. We must make a manned landing. Nothing must stop us, John. Nothing.
sound serious.
Well, John, good to see you again.
Professor Bergman. Victor, still here.
Yes, I got caught. Listen, John, things are far more serious than I
must have had
suspect
the
you've been
shits.
told.
Stop
People are
that,
dying
Red.
up here.
The virus infection?
Well, Dr.
See?
Russell doesn't believe it is a virus. Looks very much like the effects of radiation, but I am
But
not.
what?
Damn.
There is no radiation.
Look,
What the
Victor,
hell? You're in
you know me
space
well
and
enough to know
radiation
that
all
I'm
over
not
the
going to
place.
ignore the fact that people have been
That's a good
dying
point,
up here.
Red.
But the space launch of the century must not be allowed to slip through our fingers. That planet is passing just close enough to make a landing. This medical problem must
They
be
got a
solved.
whole planet
There's
coming?
no margin for
This
error.
show's
Dr.
stupid.
Russell has some ideas
Yeah, I
worth listening
kinda
to.
forgot that
Why don't you
part.
talk to her, John?
God damn, this is better than the show. That show must be
Our
pure.
ninth man died this morning.
Red.
One moment he's fine. The next he had lost all control.
He
Look at
shit
the
all over
demographic
himself.
plate.
Oh, God,
Emergency
stop that,
erupts,
Red.
And there's
Jeez.
immediate disorientation of the kind that's classic in radiation attacks.
I
Or
understand,
getting
Doctor.
drunk.
You've had 11 cases so far.
9
I
deaths.
get like
But
that
all
the
9 who
time.
died
One
were
too many
workers in
birds.
nuclear disposal area 2. The 2 astronauts with the same illness never went near that site. It's inconsistent.
There's another inconsistency.
God.
There is no radiation
That
in Area
means they were
2.
bumping
What about the
uglies.
backup crew? Are they medically cleared to fly this mission?
They appear to be, but they've lived the same lives, been through the same training as the critically ill probe astronauts. I
Probe-
can't guarantee that they won't be
Probe
affected. 3 days
astronauts.
or
Oh,
3
God,
months
here we
out in
go.
deep space.
Dr. Russell, the 2 astronauts. Come quick.
God damn, that's some big feet.
Well, they did have platform shoes back then, and if you watch the show,
I ain't gonna watch it.
yeah,
gone.
but if you do, you'll see even the men wearing
Last thing I
high-heeled
do,
shoes
I'll find out why those
in
2
their
men died.
bell-bottom slacks.
Paul,
Oh,
I'm
God,
going to
now that's
recheck
some
the
gay
radiation
gear.
levels of Area 2 myself. Get an eagle ready. I'll need 2 volunteers.
Yes, sir.
The eagle.
That's what they call their shuttles, eagles.
I want Area 2, Collins, not 1.
That's where we're going, Commander. We just use Area 1 as a turning point. Navigation beacon Delta. It's a landmark.
Area 1. This was the first nuclear waste area up here. Has it been used since I left Victor?
You know,
No, John,
launching
they've moved on
nuclear
to Area
waste
2.
into
This
outer
one was
space.
used for
What if a
5
rocket
years.
blows up
How's it
on the
holding up?
launching
All
pad?
right,
Yeah,
according
well,
to
they'd have
reports,
precautions.
They
constantly
got
not,
them
no
exploding all the
radiation.
time.
All right,
Wouldn't that be
Collins, let's
stupid?
move on to Area 2.
That's right, Red. That's why no one
Landing at Area 2,
But the
Collins
show
and
figured
Jackson go out on foot
no
to
one
check
will
the
notice,
radiation
I guess.
levels,
I don't know.
while Koenig and Professor Bergman stay in the area monitoring depot.
Point 1, check complete. Radiation normal, no leakage. We're going on to point 48.
All right, Jackson.
Section by section, the 2 men check every part of Area 2.
Oh, man.
Commander,
It'll
point
take a long
48, check
time.
complete.
Oh,
Radiation
already to
normal.
48.
That's it, sir. All okay out here.
All right, Jackson. Thanks. Get out of there as fast as you can.
That seems to prove that the radiation can't hurt within safe limits.
Whatever killed our men was not radiation.
Seems not.
Commander,
It
I've
was
got to get out of here.
diarrhea.
All right, Collins. We're leaving soon.
No, no, no! Got to get out!
Oh, he's pushing the load.
Stop him. He'll kill us all.
Collins suddenly goes berserk, but after a brief but fierce struggle, is overpowered. On returning to Alpha
Yeah,
on
they
the
showed
light
that
side
in
of the
the show,
moon,
but you didn't
Koenig
miss
asks
much.
for the flight records of the dead astronauts.
I checked the flight record as you asked, Commander. Listen to this. There's a 2-minute blankout on the flight recorder over navigation beacon Delta, Area 1.
That's where Collins took us on our way to Area 2. Does he always
Area
fly that
2,
route?
huh?
5 or 6 times a week.
And the probe astronauts?
Made their training
Oh,
flights of the dark side of the
goddamn.
moon in that
I've had
general
enough of
area
this.
regularly.
We're almost
Yes,
halfway
Sandra.
through
There's a
that.
steep rise in heat level, disposal area
Oh,
1.
here we go.
All indications show that the radiation level is normal, but the heat continues to rise.
Heat without radiation, without atomic activity.
Yeah, that's
Put
really-
Area 1 on the
really
screen,
weird.
Paul.
Yes, sir.
Look at that.
What?
Lightning, surface fires. Victor, any ideas?
As a matter of fact, yes,
That's the
John.
weirdest
I've been looking
sound
at this
lightning I
monitoring
ever
device
heard.
from the old Area 1. It was used to record the magnetic output of the artificial gravity system
So
out
they
there.
named the old
When the
area
area was
1.
closed down, it had nothing to record. But now, look at it.
A 20-fold increase in the magnetic field.
We've been obsessed with
Are we
radiation.
supposed to know what the hell they're talking
What we are
about?
facing is a new effect.
just that they're
Energy
upset about
outputs
it.
of unprecedented violence, arising from the atomic waste deposited on the dark side of the moon over the years.
This is very important because atomic waste is serious issue. And this
Magnetic
show
energy
was
causing brain damage and bringing death to 11 men.
The probe astronauts went over there daily, as did Collins in the shuttle.
Then we've all been exposed to it, since we've all been to Area 2, and to get there we had to
Good
pass
Lord.
over Area 1. There
They've all
could be
been
a
exposed
cumulative
'cause it
effect
took
that
another
could-
There's even a
team.
bigger problem.
God.
Area 1 burnt itself
Just
out in a huge magnetic
stop it.
subsurface firestorm. What if the same thing happens in Area 2?
Paul, let's get an eagle out there immediately
No,
to monitor
damn it.
magnetic levels.
I won't be responsible for any more men out on the surface in these conditions.
Neither will I.
Well, just keep
we'll
your
do it
panties
by
on
remote
then.
control and follow it on the screen.
Let me get this straight. They basically turned the moon into a giant kitty litter box
Okay,
for
Paul. She's
nuclear
approaching
turds.
Area 2. Sit her down. Easy
Yeah,
does it.
that's
Look,
that's
she's
what
going
they
out of
did.
control. Blast her out of it, Paul.
No use, Commander. She doesn't respond.
She's gonna crash.
Look at the reading. A tremendous magnetic surge.
Well,
Could trigger an atomic explosion.
Yeah, you
Paul,
just had a
contact
crash.
Commissioner Simmons on Earth. Emergency code Alpha 1.
Yes, sir.
You were right, Doctor. It was radiation.
Magnetic radiation.
Well, what do
And
you
now
know?
we're sitting on the biggest
There's radiation
bomb man
all over the
ever made.
place, and it took you
Simmons here,
almost the
what's the trouble?
entire
The heat
episode to
rise in
figure
Area
out
1
that,
we
yes,
reported to you
it's
has spread
radiation.
to Area 2, which contains
Well,
140 times
Quack
the amount
like
of
duck,
waste as
quack
Area
like
1.
duck.
With
It's
quantities like that,
radiation.
there could be a chain reaction.
All right,
Well,
so they
what's to
made
be
some
done?
mistake.
We can try to break the pile apart, rip up the rods,
pile?
destroy the mass.
Uh-huh.
By dispersing it over a wide
No.
area, we might prevent that.
Good. Do it.
What? What
The
is
first
this?
6 Eagles are moving into the area now, Commander.
All right, Paul. Let's see it on the screen. Uma, I want central computer updated with everything possible, constantly.
Oh, they got a pretty
We're
good
getting some of the
computer.
containers moved. Number 26 dispersed to Grid 9.
Dispersed to Grid 9.
How does it look, Paul?
We've had navigational
grid.
failures on 2 of the ships. They've returned for replacement. That means the magnetic field is probably expanding.
Tell the others to increase altitude.
Right. Main mission to all Eagles, increase altitude.
Captain Carter.
Yes, sir.
Carter, do you have an extra ship available?
No, sir, they're all committed.
Then take Eagle 1 into orbit. Report how things look
But
from
I
there.
just told you they're all committed.
Sandra, what are the readings?
Heat level holding. Magnetic field fluctuating.
That's what worries me.
What are the chances of getting it under control, Victor?
Too early to tell.
Eagle 1 to Alpha.
Go ahead, 1.
Liftoff complete. Trajectory computed and programmed. We'll be in orbit in 2 minutes.
Okay, Alan. Levels seem to be holding. If only they can... Commander! It's going up!
Paul, abort the mission.
Main
It's-
mission
it's a
to
little
all
late.
Eagles. Return to base immediately. Repeat, return to base immediately.
They can't. They've all been atomized.
Suddenly, all aboard Alpha Moon Base are hurled to the floor and held there as though pinned down by a huge invisible hand.
Yeah, it's called gravity.
Can't move. G-forces. We're moving. The moon.
God, all these
He's
people who've
moving.
worked in space all this time, and none of them have ever heard of
Can you hear me?
G-forces.
This is Carter at Eagle 1. Do you copy? Alpha, I'm not receiving.
We're
Maybe you're
a little
receiving me.
busy right
The moon is
now.
going out of orbit. It's moving away from Earth.
Carter, I read you. Can you hear me?
Commander, thank
Yep.
God you're okay. What's happening down there?
We've got prevented G-forces. Can hardly move.
But
we
able
seem
to
be
work this
decelerating
button
down
and talk to you.
G's now.
Yes, we're compensating.
Oh,
You see,
geez,
the whole
the
waste
G's.
disposal area has been acting like a gigantic rocket motor, pushing us out of orbit. But if it has stopped fissioning, we shan't be accelerating anymore.
Carter, did you
In
hear
a
that?
mode.
Yeah, loud and
Well,
clear.
with
Can you make it back to the base?
zero gravity
I can make it. I'm
atmosphere,
closing now. I
it'll
can
keep
make
going
it.
at that
Good,
speed
Captain.
until something
Morrow,
slows it
check
down.
around the base.
This is main mission. All sections report.
Security section, we have audio contact. Video systems gone.
Service
All
section,
right.
lost all power. Operating on emergency systems.
Medical section poor. Explosive decompression in 2 compartments. Area sealed off. No leaks.
Except
Sufficiently
for the
operative to
toilets.
accept
They've all
casualties.
backed up. We're slipping and sliding
Question
in it.
now is, can we make it back to Earth? Uma, consult the master computer. I want a readout on contingency plan Exodus.
Yes, sir.
Emergency
That was
Operation
Uma?
Exodus. Indefinite patterns. 1. Moon on unknown trajectory.
Yeah, we know
2.
that.
constantly changing G-forces due to movement away from Earth. 3, insufficient data.
Yeah, so basically she just told us everything we knew and said, I don't know anything else.
Attention, all sections, Alpha. This is Commander John Koenig. As you know, the moon has been blasted out of orbit, and we have been completely cut off from Earth. We have power, environment, and therefore the possibility of survival.
Everything's fine.
If we should try to return to Earth without full resources, I believe we would fail. Therefore, it is my judgment we do not try.
Yeah, because we got a TV series
What about our
to do.
communications with Earth? Any chance of restoring contact?
Very little, sir. We've lost all direct communication. All I can get is this video report being broadcast on Earth.
Bars on our
Put it up on the big screen.
The totally unforeseen accident on the lunar surface has caused very
Totally
serious
unforeseen,
repercussions here
huh?
on Earth. Due to gravity
That's a lot of
disruption, there have
nuclear
been violent
material up
earthquakes
there.
in the United States, Yugoslavia, and southern France, with enormous damage to life and property.
Yugoslavia. Yeah, they didn't know
The International
Yugoslavia
Lunar
ceased to
Commission
exist
holds out
in the
little
early
hope for the
90s.
rescue of the 311 men and women on Moon Base Alpha. The moon's acceleration away from Earth has put it beyond the reach of any.
All right, hold the rabbit ears on the side. Maybe you can catch it.
Paul,
Oh,
there's a picture coming in. There, hold that.
It's the planet Meta.
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 That's where our future lies. September 13th,
I thought you said it was
1999.
meta.
it is. They just
increasing.
don't pronounce it right.
Yes.
Stupid British.
Well,
Oh, damn. You should have known better than to expect something cool from some dumb British show.
Oh, now, come on. The British produced Doctor Who.
no.
Exactly.
Yeah. well, I mean, Doctor Who used to be a good show. But, yeah, so I'll return with other reports. I don't know that I'll have an audio story of each episode. But, I don't know. It's just one of these weird fascinations. I get stuck on something, even something crappy like this. So we'll see how the next episode goes. And
all right. Thank you for watching and listening. Why not like and subscribe and check out that link description below. That'll take you to my mini stores that have plenty of goodies for you. You know, hats, mugs, stickers, posters, all that goody stuff. Plus, you can head over to indieplanet.com and pick up a copy of my comic book Night Night. Oh, yeah. Plus, you can also catch my podcast, Mr Nailsin Show, over at RadioMisfits.com. And you can also watch my videos on my channel at BitChute. That's the Mr Nailsin channel on BitChute.com.